Hello, hello. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? It wouldn't be a terrific Tuesday if you couldn't hear me. I guess it could be. It'd still be. One way, shape, form, or another. Hello. I'll wait until you call in there. Okay. I'm on the way now. Hello there, William. Good to see you. Hey, Daniel. My goodness. Welcome to Terrific Tuesday. Terrific Tuesday in a disclosed location. Guess where I'm at? Can you guess where I'm at? And I am at. Drum roll, please. I'm at the Red Nose Wellness office. Yes, we have an office. Hey, 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 hey! VH1 here. Thanks, man. My goodness. I actually see it's not undisclosed. It's off of 51st and Sheridan. So it's not so undisclosed. But yes, we have an office now. You're like, Red Nose Wellness, you have an office? Why do you have an office? It's like, because why not? My goodness. You have this whole screensaver. Are you guys ready? Boom. Red Nose Wellness. You got an office. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, I know. 51st and Sheridan. My goodness, Daniel, you'll have to come by sometime. Absolutely. So far, everything is going really freaking great. I know, Aaron, I need to come see you. I really do. I haven't forgotten about you. Things have just been a little hectic. But hey, how are you? How's your wonderful weekend? And I hope your Monday didn't suck. But now it's Terrific Tuesday. So all I gotta ask is what? So originally I was gonna have my cousin back on here, Jamie, back on here, but I gave her a call and just to confirm, and she didn't answer. So I don't know if she is busy or fighting sharks, but oh my goodness, I guess we've just kept on. It's a Terrific Tuesday. Why? Because, well, okay, first off, I have to explain it to you. Marvelous Monday, Terrific Tuesday, Wonderful Wednesday, Terrifying Thursday, Fantastic Frickin' Friday, Spectacular Saturday, and Summarize That Shit Sunday. Well, since we've already bypassed Marvelous Monday, it is Terrific Tuesday. It's like, well, why are you, what is so freaking terrific about Tuesday? That we exist, okay? That we're still freaking here. Despite all the odds, we're here. You're here, I'm here, we're here. Okay, well, that's so terrific. Well, let me tell you about like what's terrific. First is out of a bazillionth chance of us existing, we do. Cannot to this day explain why we exist, but yet here we are. We know more about all random craps and facts about life than actual, ready? What here and now is. Hi, SP, good to see you. My goodness. It's like a whole shindig. You're like, well, my goodness, well, what's happening now? It's like, what's happening now? Now being a key word. We always talk about now, but we never really understand the full length of what now is. Oh, by the way, SP, I'm in my office. Not the office you used to know me in. My own office, Red Nose Wellness's office. Anyways, I'm going to get back to the now. How about that? You're like, now. Well, bear with me. Hold on. I know side effects are awesome, aren't they? No, side effects. Effects. Super. Office. Here I am. Hello. My goodness. Okay. It's telling you about now. Okay? Stay with me. if you want, you can stand up with me and you can try this with me. So, ready? What I want you to do is stand up. Comfortable? I'll give you a moment to do it. All right. Now, while you're standing up, I want you to take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. All right. Where was that first step? I mean, exactly. Where is that first step? Now you can go in reverse. But is this the same exact step that I started? Because this would be simplifying of the past. Okay? 1, 2, 3. This is now. You, me, we all only live right here in the now. This step. I can only tell you where I am right now. I can hint and reference and guide you to where I used to be, this step. But that's the past. If you live in the past, you live in your depression and you'll get stuck in your head. Okay, well, what about the next step you're about to take? Where's the future? Now, when we talk about the future, it's like, well, what step can you take? You can take any step. I took this step. This is the step I took. This office, this business, this way of life. Everyone, you, me, and Dupree can make a decision. We get to choose where we're going to walk, where we're going to step, what we're going to say, and what we're going to do. All of this is the decision of me and is the decision of you. Is that wild? That's what's freaking terrific. One of many things that's terrific. Now watch this. I know, I love my sound effects. Hi there. You'll be like, look, man, I don't know exactly what he did, but like he stood up and the lights went on and it was just wild. Like it was crazy. You and me, we only live here. We only live here. We only live in the now. We can and only have ever lived right now. And you're spending right now with me. I rest my case. So now I tell you kind of a gist of how I am. How are you? What's going on with you? SP, Daniel, Tizzy Taylor. What's up, Tizzy Taylor? Oh my goodness, William Perm. It's so wonderful that we keep taking steps forward into the future. But the future and the past doesn't exist. So once upon a time, I heard the past. Depression is living in the past. Anxiety is living in the future. Living in the here and now is peace. That's why they call it a present. It's so wonderful. You're like, oh my God, he's on one. Of course I'm on one. My goodness, I'm always on one. I have never gotten off one. Actually, I got off once, and then I got right back on because I was like, nah, I can't do this. It's like, my goodness. You find yourself out as a server or busser at Olive Garden real quick. All time exists now. Just now. There's only now. Just now. You're like, okay, well, what else can you like? Can you elaborate? No, there is no elaboration. Now, this is where it all kind of comes in together. Are you ready? Think of something lately that you've been pissed off about, angry, mad, depressed, anxious, excited, nervous, vehemently disgusted with. Think of just anything that really triggered your emotions. Tell me when you get there. That didn't take long. Okay. Now, whatever that thing was, whatever that thing is, let's go with anger because that's something I really love to talk about. If you've seen any of my Red Nose Wellness ads on Facebook or Instagram, you know I really do love talking about anger. So let's talk about anger. Daniel said, I heard a long time ago, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're always going to get what you always won't go get. So I agree. We must move forward always, always. And I agree. You probably heard that from a very wise man. And a really stupid man. One being your grandpa and one being me. I'll be the latter. I'm stupidly happy. See, stupid doesn't have to be a bad word. George Carlin was right on a lot of things. I said your grandpa. I did say your grandpa. I said too. He's the wise man. Anyways, getting back to it. Let's say you're feeling angry. What are you feeling angry about? Number one thing, you have to be able to identify a target. Okay? So it's like, I'm pissed off and angry that when I get in traffic, people cut me off. It's like, okay, now that you have a target of something that pisses you off, right? It doesn't have to be anger. It doesn't have to be pissed off. It doesn't have to be rage. It can be any emotions, right? It's like you can choose, and you do get to choose. It's like, regardless of what other people try to tell you, you get to choose if you're going to be angry and you're going to let that situation affect you and get the best of you, or you're going to choose to be able to, at least for the moment, say, okay, hey, wait a minute, this is something that really like pisses me off and triggers me, and I know that I don't respond, and the last time I experienced this, things didn't go so well, and I'd rather not have to go down that road again. And so rather than letting this situation get the best of my emotions, I'm going to either, one, not respond. And you're like, well, I have to respond. You don't have to do a damn thing that anyone tells you to do. You really don't. The only thing and the only person you have to listen to and respond to is you. Now, if you don't respond to some people, there's consequences. That's natural consequences. Okay, some people rule our lives. My goodness. It's like Daniel says, slow drivers who don't do the speed limit. Right. Okay. So with that being said, it's like, hear me out. If you're driving at a certain time on a certain road, and you know every time you drive on a certain road at a certain time, there are these certain slow drivers. It's like, you know it's coming, right? You know that they're going to be there. Then why is it that you seem so surprised when you, at a certain time on a certain road, why are you surprised when you see these certain drivers that are driving slow? Well, they annoy me. It's like, okay, well, you can't control that. You can't control people as much as people can't control you. You can only control you, and they can only control them. Cognitive consciousness is a hell of a subject. Don't go down that rabbit hole. I promise you, there's nowhere to go from there. It's like every day, every road, LOL, they do 35 and a 40. Okay, it's like, Daniel, have you ever gotten into a car crash for going too fast, for speeding? I love the delay on this. It's like the only deal is you control the outcome. So you do get to control an outcome of your outcome. You don't get to control the outcome of other outcomes. So the way that we experience life, so we have this human condition, okay? Hear me out there. You have this human condition, and the way that it works is you get to choose your outcome. Let's reckon this to a game, okay? You get to choose your outcome. You get to choose the players that you're playing with. You get to choose kind of a lot of the elements that are going on into this experience. You don't get to choose the other player's experience. Now you can affect the other player's experience, but you don't get to fully control what they experience and their ultimate outcome. Okay. So about 15 years ago, Daniel says, 15 years ago, Daniel got into a car crash for going too fast. That is what my assumption is based on my question. It's like you chose to go too fast and other people chose to go too slow. At some point, we're going to have a variable and an uncontrollable variable that are going to go. And we're very likely to say, well, you did this to me because you did X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, hold on a moment. I didn't intentionally try to go slow to ruin your day. Some people do, but not everybody. There's a reason some people go slow. Some people are nervous while driving. Some people have gone through car crashes and they don't want to go quicker. Okay. Some people are very unsure about their ability of driving. Some people just don't give a fuck and they're like, I'm going 35 because I don't want a speeding ticket because I can't afford it. And you know what? I own this fucking road because I pay taxes, that whole conversation. So I'm going my freaking speed in the passing lane. It's like, Daniel, I'm with you. I really hate slow drivers. I really do. But when I'm passing them, I really, really try hard, very hard, to tell myself that it's not towards me. They're not intentionally doing it to piss me off. Now, Daniel says most of the time anymore, they're on their phone while driving. 100%. Phone addiction is a hell of a thing. Social media addiction is a hell of a thing. Everybody has some type of an addiction that they're going through that nobody wants to ever talk about. You're like, social media addiction? Yeah. Phone addiction? Yeah. You can be addicted to gambling, to sex, to social media, to drugs, to alcohol. It's like addiction. It's a hell of a thing. Do you check to see if they're stupid as they drive? Actually, I do. And you know what? Majority of the time, they're old. They're really fucking old. They're old and they're doing this. It's like, there's one lady that she was going like 35, 45, and a 60. And I was just like, I was pissed off that day and I was driving past her. I was like, "Whoa," and I look over and she's like this young, she's about my age. She's about 30 years old and she has tears in her eyes. And she's like, just like hitting the steering wheel. She has two kids in the back. And it's like, she's driving and she's driving and she's driving. And it's like, I look at the condition of the car and I realize that car is on its last leg. Like, she's probably trying the best that she can to get to where she's going. And maybe her car doesn't go past the third or fourth gear. And so it's like, at that moment, Jeremiah felt like an asshole. It's like, well, shit, not everybody's like that. It's like, okay, well, let's go to the social media or like they're on their cell phones. We don't know what people are going through. This is where compassion and understanding actually starts really playing a part. We don't know what someone's going through. We don't know if someone's tire is low, and so in order to get their tire fixed, they drop their car off, but they have to drive during a certain time, or they have to work a certain time, so they had to drop their car off, and after hours, their auto car shop is closed, and so they had to inadvertently use a bicycle to transport back and forth. And next thing you know, they get pulled over by the police officers and they're being investigated for looking suspicious. And it's like, well, I'm just trying here, man. It's like you never know. It's like you never know if someone is out of gas. And they're just like, look, maybe if I drive 35, maybe I'll make it to the gas station. And some people are so fucked up on some of their drugs that they're not in the right mind. And they're like, 35, you say? I feel like we're going 90. It's like, it's okay. But at the end of the day, you still cannot control it. You can't control them. It's like getting mad at them is like getting mad at your kid for trying to pick up their cup of milk and then they drop it and you're like, damn it, motherfucker, why'd you drop your milk? And they're like, you took my sippy cup away and you told me I couldn't. You were just a day ago, you were telling me good job. I'm sorry. It's like the way that we respond. It's like, are they intentionally doing it? We feel, and I do make this broad assumption, and fuck you if you think that, oh, you can't make assumptions like that. Well, I'm going to make my assumptions. It'll be my hill and I'll die on it, okay? We feel like the world is out to get us, or a majority of us feel like the world is out to get us. And when things go wrong, it's like, it's really hard to take accountability. It's really hard to take accountability for anything going wrong or things not going the way that we want to, because God damn it, why could things just not work once for me? Could they just please just work? I just want things to go smoothly. If things went smoothly in your life, you want to know what the hell to do with it. You get so nervous and anxious, things were going to go wrong that you wouldn't even be able to focus on the here and now. It's absolutely wild. It's ludicrous, I tell you. It's like Daniel said, yep, it's sad. They are FaceTiming while smoking or eating and driving at the same time. I've actually seen people addicted to social media so bad that they're doing it while driving. It's like, okay, William and Daniel, my goodness, I hear. I only YouTube lived once, okay? And it was after I went to a wonderful meeting, I tell you. How do we do this? Oh, okay. Oh, don't, Jenny's up there. Don't drive over there. We're not perfect. You're telling me you've never gotten on your phone while driving? Really? Because half of you I've called and I've talked to while you were driving. I won't say names, but it's good to read their comments. And I'm just as guilty. Is that right? No. Is it dangerous? Absolutely. Do we know it? Yes. We know the inherent and involved risks, and we still take a gamble. Why? Because we're human. That's what tonight's about. That's what's terrific about today, is that we're human. And your choices and your decisions are what create the outcome. Anything that you do, anything that you experience is your fault and is your happening and is your decision. No, 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 not quite there. My goodness. You can't say that. But not everything, everything. But I didn't choose people to treat me badly. No, but you chose to let those people in your life. I didn't know that they were going to create the outcomes that they created. No, but you still stayed. But trust me, I get it. I know how hard it is to leave. I do. I found myself into some very shitty situations that I'm like, why am I staying? Had people ask me, why are you staying with this person? They're no good for you. They're not doing anything like productive and they're bringing you down. It's like, you know what? Couldn't give you an answer because you don't know where else to turn. You don't know where else to go. It's like, it creates a lot of frustration. Huh? A lot of anger. Huh? Do you know why I'm teaching anger management? Do you think I just wake up in the morning and I go, yep, I'm going to go talk to some angry people? No. The reason I teach anger management, the reason that I love it, I love talking about conflict, isn't particularly that I'm any good at it. I'm not the best. I'll never be the best, and I've come to terms with that. It's because there's not readable options available, not readable to actuality. There's not a lot of options available to which they will talk to you like you're still a human being and not just a number. There's not a lot of options that they don't say, hi, do you have insurance? Good, I'm going to keep you as a cash cow to continue my order of business. It's not going to look. I just need some sturdy like advice or some words of guidance, and I need you to point me in the right direction. Go to any therapist or any social worker that you know and ask them how much extensive education they've had in anger. And they're far in between. There are some damn good ones, and I will not discount them. And they are wonderful souls. And it's not their fault. It's not. It's not how the education industry is actually, and I say industry, is built. Do you remember in high school thinking, when I graduate, I'm going to have a free world. I'm going to make my own choices. And then they might sell you on the idea of going to college. And then you get into college and you say, okay, well, when I get my degree, I'm a free agent. Right? Some people don't go to college, and that's fine. They find a job, and they say, well, when I save enough, I'm going to buy a house and have a family, or maybe go travel the world. And then I'll be happy. Right? Well, if I just get this new car, If I just get this house, if I just get this office, I'll be able to be happy, right? And we race and we race and we race and we spend all this money and we spend all this time. Time is a very valuable resource. You can't get your time back. Make more money, lose more money. Buy more house, lose more house. One finite resource that you can never get back is your time. You're spending your time doing what? Now, right now, you're spending it with me, and I appreciate you. But I don't want you to watch me if I'm not giving you something substantial, something that is worth meaningful, or something that's at least going to make you think or get you to think. Maybe, and not in a weird way, but maybe you're taking a shower and you're going to be like, maybe what that oversized leprechaun actually is onto something. It's like, your happiness is based on you. Your anger is based on you. Your sadness is based on you, and your anxiety is based on you. Now, sometimes we have a chemical deficiency. That's a whole other subject. Let's say you've gone down the line and you've done everything, and you still find yourself just experiencing whatever the hell you're experiencing. Maybe it is in your head, but there's people and places you can go to talk to and to get that figured out. Okay, well, Jeremiah, didn't you just hear me out? Once you get your shit figured out, get on down the road. There's a story in Greek times, the Lotus, where I think is most modern times is Percy Jackson, and Percy Jackson and his friends in one of the scenes in the movies. In Percy Jackson, they go into a casino and they drink this Lotus tea, and they feel like they've only been in there for hours. And they keep drinking the tea, and it's kind of like it resembles like an acid trip almost, a mushroom trip. Next thing you know, somehow, some way, they snap out the realization, and they think that they've only been in that place or the casino for like maybe an hour or 2 hours. It turns out they were there for 2 weeks, or I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's like 2 weeks. It's like, sometimes you go in for one thing, like going to Walmart for one item, and they entice you. They entice you with advertisements, and they entice you with the lights and the sounds and the smells. Go to any hotel, and they have a smell machine, a atomizer for smell, actually under the chairs. When you walk into a hotel and you smell a smell that's very, oh, that's Hilton. Oh, that's Marriott. It's like, that's a scent machine. That's designed there to make you feel a certain way. That's manipulation, but it's marketing. You're like, well, that's not fair. Well, Starbucks does the same thing. A lot of the aroma of their coffee, it's like, don't get me started. McDonald's, same thing. Think about it. You can go into certain places and you smell a smell. And yet when you eat or you experience whatever they offer, you aren't tasting or experiencing that smell, but yet that smell is pretty coincide with whatever that item is. It's marketing. That's where they brain hack you and they say, come on, just a little more. Yeah, I know you came into Walmart for just some paper towels, but don't you need some plates too while you're at it? Those Oreos look really good. Nebraska really did it this time. Double stuffed, am I right? You ever try to eat a chip and you can't eat just one? Coffee. This coffee specifically is from Quick Trip, and I go in and I've had to try really hard whenever I go to Quick Trip to get my coffee that I'm like, no, I don't want that strawberry strudel that they place very strategically right next to the coffee, because what tastes really good with coffee? It's like very often donuts. Why? They complement each other. Everything and anything that you experience is by design, by someone else. It's like, designed for what? Highways? Look at the history of highways and why highways are designed the way that they are. It's like, when we have this conversation, when we have this this experience of going, well, everything's curated. Yes. And it goes back to my conversation earlier. Everything is curated. That is true by someone else. Yes, that is not you, correct. But you decided to put yourself in that line of direction to which other people's experience coincides with yours. It's a freaking movie, I tell you. Okay, well, I want out of it. Can't get out of it. It's called The Matrix. You're here. Hi, hello. My name is Jeremiah. It's like, I'll explain to you the rules of the game if you like, if you wish. Okay, well, that's not fun. Well, what do I do? You enjoy. Well, what's the goal of the game? It's like, I could tell you, but that would ruin the surprise. What? No. That's just maybe social media, maybe YouTube, maybe TikTok. There's algorithms, of course. That's how they run their platform. But people, really? Yes, it's by design. Hello, sorry to spoil the secret. It's like, if you didn't know this up until now, congratulations. You're very naive. It's like, and if you notice it, well, stay tuned. It's like, there's a lot more. But before I continue, what are your thoughts? I got pants on fire. I got smiley face, and I got preach it, man. My goodness. I'll count to 10 because I know there's a delay. I'll count to 10, and then I'll continue with or I'll just drink my coffee. I'll just drink my coffee and talk about randomness. It's like Walmart causes an impulse. Walmart does cause an impulse. Yo, William, you want to talk more on that? I just need a yes or no, man. Yes or no. Three, 2, 1. Let's phone a friend. Retail stores are set up for impulse buying. That is true, actually. They are set up for impulse buying because that's what makes them money. You have to think, when you enter something or when you do something, what are they offering? What are they doing? So William says, so when I was working there, it was psychological manipulation on impulse buyers. They have stuff presented in specific areas as you're cashing out just to get you to buy more. Yes, they are. Walmart sets up so you stay on the outside. 100%. Right. And you know this. You know this. SP, William, and Daniel, you know this to be true. And yet, do you still shop at Walmart or at other stores that are very similar in the same model? I know the answer is yes. Unless you're a hermit crab or a Mennonite or a Amish, right? But you still go. Now, you have a list. You know what you're going to get. Do you ever find yourself off of the course of your list, SP? Everybody does it. Nobody denies it. There's some people that deny it. And the people that deny it are the ones that I would absolutely say, in the sake of argument, it's like, will not take accountability. It's like, for a good example, SP says, yes, but I have a list. And then I ask, do you still go off of it? It's like, SP's like, yep. It's like, there's truth to it. Congratulations, you're human. Now, you'll always find yourself getting angry. You'll always find yourself getting depressed. You'll always find yourself getting anxious. You'll always find yourself getting stressed out. how you respond to create a list if I know I'm going into Walmart, or not creating a list going into Walmart, having a rageful fit while driving and slamming my car into the other drivers that decided to go 35, or to step back, take a breath, and go, whoever drives like this, I don't know. It's like, and not letting yourself get the best of you. That would be managed. Q in your management. You with me? We choose how we respond. Oh, okay, here we are. My cousin Jamie just decided to phone in, so here we go. My goodness, let's see how this goes. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and put it on. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Good to see you.
You too. How are you?
I'm good. I was actually talking about the way that, like, you know, at Walmart, how they have everything set up to where you'll always buy more, and your decisions on how, when you respond to certain situations, it's your control on how you get to choose how you respond.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you get a chance, if you watch the beginning, it's like, it was perfect timing of you coming in. First and foremost, how are you, and how is the kitty? What is the kitty's name?
This one is Ramen.
Ramen. And what does your shirt say?
It's a beautiful day to dance.
It's a beautiful day to dance. Like, watch this. Hold on. Ready? Like dancing.
Look at you, Twinkle Toes. I don't know.
That was me.
It was very nice. I like your pants.
You what?
I said I like your pants.
Thank you.
And it was a very nice dance in your pants.
No, I like the. I like my side effects.
Your side effect?
My.
Oh yeah, that was fun too. I felt very teleported.
I know. I'm in my office.
Why are you in your office right now?
I'm officially. This is where I'm going to start doing Terrific Tuesday. This is the Red Nose Wellness headquarters, if you will.
Gotcha.
Oh, come on. Here we go. Here it goes. Ready?
I want to put my butter on it. Can you just leave 2 of them in there for me, please? Like in the
Red Nose Wellness.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No.
Love it.
So, my goodness, how are you? How was your day? You have a marvelous Monday.
I'm tired, but I'm good.
Why are you tired? What's got you tired?
I'm always tired. It's my body and my brain.
Repairing itself?
Mm-hmm.
What is it, 7 years on a biological cellular level to where our brains and our stem cells start actually repairing themselves?
Yeah, like cell turnover is every 7 years.
Wild, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But they're not.
You what?
I was going to say, but not all of your cells are on the same cycle. So like they're all doing their own cycle, but it's all about 7 years.
Right. And if they did actually do the regeneration at the same time, you'd be Doctor Who.
I know, right?
What? Now, I could be Doctor Who for like a day.
Yeah, right?
That's about it, though. I'd find myself regenerating way too often.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, oh my God, it's regeneration time. I'd be like Bill Murray on Groundhog's Day. Shit, what happened this time? I stood in front of a car. Why'd you do that? I wanted to know. Like,
for funsies.
For scientific research. Fun fact, Doctor Who actually was originally designed to be a science fiction but educational show.
Interesting.
Like, there's actual, like, the reason that it started was actually to be educational, to be a part of educational, but still entertaining with sci-fi.
I mean, it's not educational. It's just not historical fact.
Now I'm like, have you? Because if I recall correctly, you're a big Doctor Who fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do
I
you like
haven't
the new?
watched it in recent years, but yeah.
I feel like I feel like the show died with Peter, like at Peter.
Yeah, I
And look,
mean, I really do like I can't remember her name, Jodie or
Jodie.
something like that, the
Her name
woman.
was Jodie Foster. I gave her a chance. I really gave her a chance. It just, I actually got frustrated that it was like, if you remember with Chris or with Matt or with David, it's like they still like hit some like political and social issues, but
Right.
they did it classy. They did it not in
Yeah.
your face, and they were like, let me give you something to chew on. And then you'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Jody was like, turned it up to a 10 and was like, here's social issues. And you're like, yep, no. Peter started it though. It wasn't like Jody's total fault. Peter really was like, Peter was like, started putting it in your face. And you're like, look, I wanted to watch this to get away
Yeah.
and maybe chew on some social issues, like small micro amounts, but like,
Yeah.
this is a little much.
You're hitting it too hard, sir.
It's funny. It's funny though, because that's like, that is our world. Like, in a sense, that is our world where we get passionate about certain things that sometimes we don't like do that whole read the room, and then we like throw it in people's faces, and it's like it backfires, and you're like, that was not my intended.
Yeah.
That's not what I was trying to
So,
do.
we okay, we're not talking about that? Cool.
Hands down, that was like my whole experience with Terrific Tuesday. Like, obviously, I've had some very controversial like episodes, and I'm like, at the end of it, I'm like, that's not what I intended.
Now there are two.
You what?
Sorry. Two kitties now. This other
No,
one
what's
is
the
Sushi. Sushi. Sushi and ramen.
sushi and ramen?
Yeah.
So anyways, where we were back last week was you were talking about ADHD coaching, and I was like, ooh, it's like, now small information again. It's like, I got a chance to chew on it, and I'm like, not shit. Now I really like. I have to. I want to know. It's like, what got you onto that road? What got you onto the road to help other people that are experiencing ADHD or ADD?
Because of my own lived experience and having had my own struggles with it, and then I'm like, well, I figured some things out. Like I'm not, struggle free by any means, but I've worked with a lot of kids and adults with ADHD. I know it from a personal standpoint. A lot of my friends are some level of neurospicy, whether it's ADHD or autistic. And, so it's like my whole world. Like it's, the people that I interact with on a daily basis. It's in my brain 24/7. It's, the people that I used to work with. It's in the groups that I'm in on Facebook and Reddit and whatnot. So at one point I was like, I want to get back to helping people, but I wasn't at a point in my life where I felt like I could go back to working with kids though, because that's what my emphasis was. Um, and I really loved it and I miss it. But I was like, I don't think I can handle the stress and the burnout that comes along with it. Um, and especially like with my own kids, like I knew if I went and got a full-time job doing what I was doing before, I would have nothing left coming back home to my kids. So, and I was also trying to like still run my photography business. I wasn't ready to go into a full-time job and give that up. And so about 2 years ago, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try like this life coach thing. And then it turned out that every single one of the clients that reached out to me and connected with me and started working with me had ADHD. And so I was just like,
It
okay,
went hand.
this feels right. So I'm just going to claim it and say I'm an ADHD coach. versus general life coaching, because I was like, that is what I want to attract. Like I really enjoy working with people with ADHD because of that whole like I get it, I understand, like them working with somebody who can say, yeah, I know what you're saying is, from an ADHD perspective, being able to have that person that really can truly emphasize. It may not be the exact same experience, but like
Is
they
it
know
ever?
what you, yeah, right? Same but different, right? Um, but just being able to tell somebody like my brain feels like it's on fire right now. My brain's spinning, or I have bees in my head. The squirrels have gotten loose.
Or
Language like that.
I feel like I'm on pause.
Yeah.
Like
I just went into airplane mode. Exactly. Like loading, loading. My
that
Wi-Fi turned off for a second. I had to reboot the router. Um,
but you're not thinking. That's the thing trying to explain to
right.
people. Like
No,
is
you're
like
frozen in thought.
you're fully thinking, you're fully functionally thinking,
It's
and
just
every
that
time
your inside
you
took over the outside for a second.
so here's the crazy part. In your experience, have you found a conversation often to where people get frustrated that someone that experiences ADHD is doing nothing, staring off into space or airplane mode, and in actuality, the person experiencing the airplane mode is actually thinking full on and going, wait a minute, every time you're asking me or interrupting or you're involving yourself, it disrupts my train of thought, and I had things clearly organized.
Right.
It's like, how often do you have that type of conversation?
A lot, especially between just James and I. Like that's the two of us. We both have ADHD. Like he will fully pause as he's trying to collect his thoughts, but I will also like he does it his own way. And I do have to sit there and be patient because I'm usually the one being like, give me the information, like quick, quick, quick. If somebody's going too slow, I tend to get impatient because of my ADHD. So it's like we've learned to navigate that. And then on the inverse, a lot of times, like I will pause, but I also will come sometimes I'm the one who pauses in the middle of my sentence and I'm like, hold on. And I'm sitting there going, hold on, wait. And then he'll start to talk. I'm like, nope, hold on, wait. Like,
And
I'm
it's like,
chasing it, hold on, wait.
I lost it. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Or trying to think back and like, just give me a minute to try to find where my thread was. Like, that's what I find more people who don't have ADHD, like they'll start to get impatient because I'm like, wait, hold on, let me go find my thought. And they're like, it doesn't matter, move forward. I'm like, no, this is gonna drive me crazy. I have to remember what I was trying to say.
I
They're
had
like,
that.
no, da, 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 and they just like try to like bulldoze over you, and you're like, no.
It's like, it is wild trying to explain it to someone that is versus isn't. Now it's like, where did you and James meet?
At a bar.
At a
But
bar?
not yeah, but not like a like divey college bar. It was like a brewery. And like he lives 2 minutes from the brewery. And I had started going with my friends. So this was actually like during COVID stuff was still happening. So things were still like we were masking and distancing and all that stuff. So like there weren't that many people in there. And so and it wasn't a huge space, but like so my friends I was trying to get into food photography, and my friends had a food truck with like barbecue that is like the best damn barbecue I've ever had. Shout out to Taste Smokers in Bethlehem. Woot woot.
Hey,
Just
hey.
for anybody who's tuning in that may know of these people or be in the Pennsylvania area, there you go. Um, Shameless plug for buddies of mine. But so I was taking pictures for them. So I was going there every Thursday, and then James would be there because it was 2 minutes from his house and he was a regular. And so that would be like the night that he'd go down and chill down there. So we like crossed paths and like we'd start chatting and, just kind of like naturally unfolded and like we turned into friends. Turned out his ex was a counselor and my ex was also an engineer. Turns out I used to be a counselor and he's an engineer. We were kind of giggling at like how many of that like analytical brain versus like, yeah, therapeutic brain tend to attract each other. But we were both going through divorces. So we were able to like commiserate and empathize with each other. We both had kids around similar ages. So we clicked and connected on a bunch of different levels and just became friends. And I had no idea that he had a crush on me. Zero, absolutely none. And then he had asked me if I wanted to come over and watch Hamilton at some point, at like well after we had established like we're friends, whatever. Like, yeah, we see each other at the bar. Like we weren't hanging out outside of that, but we looked forward to like chatting while we were there, you know? And like we had exchanged numbers at some point and like we texted about our kids and things like that. So like we were connecting. And then all of a sudden he invites me over. He was like, "Hey, so by the way, would you want to come over and watch Hamilton?" And I was like, talk about freezing. I was like, "Wait, wait." I didn't answer. What, it took me 24 hours to get back to you or something like that. You asked me like later in the day and I didn't answer you till like the next morning. Yeah. I screenshotted it and I sent it to my friends. I have a chat group. We've been chatting since Austin was a baby. Like just, virtually chatting, whatever. Four
Yeah.
of us. And I screenshotted it and sent it in there and I was like, guys, guys, what do I say? What do I do? I don't know what to do. And they were like, say yes. Do you like this guy? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. He's nice. I don't know.
And
They're like,
it's
well,
just,
is he cute? And I was like, I don't know. Yes, maybe. I think so. I don't know. Because I was just like,
I don't
the
know.
the concept of dating like hadn't even occurred to me. So the fact that like somebody liked me hadn't even occurred to me.
Well, you were
And
also
just,
at the time going through, like, you both were going through divorce.
yeah.
So it's like while you're experiencing divorce, there's a very well understood studied like effect that divorcees actually experience, that they start like really like questioning their self-worth, and it's
Hmm.
like that's reasonable.
Yeah. But yeah,
Williams
like we were doing.
definitely have spicy brain syndrome.
Thank you.
It's like it's true though. But it's funny because spicy brain syndrome, by the way, William, is the best brain syndrome to ever have. My goodness.
Agree. Ditto.
So I have to ask, what happened to your mohawk?
So I buzzed it off because it was getting thinner and it was falling out more with my last round. And I just was like, you know what? All right, I'll buzz it. It'll all grow out.
How was your last round?
It was probably the easiest one that I had. I didn't have quite as many, and which was I was pleasantly surprised by because apparently side effects from chemo get progressively worse.
Oh,
Um, I like that haircut on you, by the way. It looks nice.
this one?
Yeah.
This is the everyone that's close to me tells me I need to get a haircut.
Oh, I think it looks good, especially with your
I,
beard.
I actually there for a while I had the hair like long where I was
I
like
know you did.
it's
I
like
know I like that haircut. I mean,
it's
you're a beautiful human regardless of what you look like, but that haircut looks nice on you.
well, it's in the genes. It's funny when Emery was going through chemo and she lost her hair.
Hmm.
When there's a time that I bleached my hair, and I walk
Hmm.
in the and she was so mad because she was like, "I loved your gorgeous hair." She's like, "Why'd you dye it?" And it like affected her more than me. And I was just like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "I don't have hair. I wanted you to have your hair." And I was like,
Aw,
"I'm sorry."
broke that little girl's heart.
I actually, she told me that you broke my heart. It's like,
No.
I'm like, I
Did you
wonder
go out
what
and buy her a pony after that?
you what?
Did you go out and buy her a pony after that?
Actually, My Little Pony. There's a bunch of My Little Ponies. I
There you
was
go.
funny because it's like whenever someone is going through like chemo or someone's going through like a lot of cancer treatments, there's things that I experienced from a bystander effect that led me to want to get my degree in psychology. The biggest one being Emory, but also it's like the number one thing that I heard from Emory was she was actually upset because she said she didn't like how people looked at her. People looked at her
Hmm.
like she's a monster.
Hmm.
And we had to like tell her like you're not a monster. It's like
Yeah.
it was one of those wild things you never think. Like a lot of the time someone that's going through cancer or any type of like health scare that someone's like they don't want to ask the questions. They don't want to ask like how does it work? How does losing your hair? Why do you lose your hair? It's like what are you experiencing? Are you okay? It's like there's a lady that I met at St. Jude's that she said the first 2 or 3 times, your loved ones will come with you to the treatment centers. And she's like, and after that, you're on your own. I was like, that's that's a hell of a thought that I never occurred. And then that's where it kind of led me to go, I want this. I want to be a psychologist for St. Jude's. Like that is my end goal. I'm like, I literally love St. Jude's.
Yeah, no, that would be fantastic.
It's like
I think that's a beautiful goal.
here's also a beautiful goal or a beautiful news is that you took your last round. So did they do a scan? Are you in the clear so far?
So, yeah, everything has been very responsive to the chemo, so everything has shrank and or you can't see it on a scan. Nothing new, nothing spread, all of that. So
No
now
new.
the next steps, I met with my surgeon today. Um, so she has to coordinate with like other surgeons and doctors to like figure out the date for surgery, but I'll be getting a full mastectomy with, reconstruction, all that stuff. And then
Um,
I'll still have to get radiation after that because I have the lymph nodes involved. So just to make sure that they have like every last little bit.
right.
But it'll only be like 6 weeks or something like that.
I have to ask on the reconstruction. Are you like going to like Dolly Parton
Oh God,
or
no.
I just I literally I have to anytime someone has breast cancer, I'm just like, when like are we getting Dolly Parton here?
Are
Like
you taking advantage of the situation and just going va va boom or
well, I'm gonna ask. Like
listen, no, I was at a point in time with between pregnancies and between all the pregnancies, weight gain, babies, breastfeeding, all that stuff. I
I
I
think
got pretty damn close to Dolly Parton status, and I don't ever want to go there again. So
other
I'm good.
other than you, Grandy would have found that a very funny
Oh yeah,
reference.
oh yeah. We're probably the two that would probably find it the most hilarious. Maybe my mom too.
That's your mom would be another one. It's like
Yeah.
it's like and
It's
how
just it's so funny because, like, obviously talking about breast cancer, like, I'm talking about specifically my own anatomy, which is kind of an awkward conversation to have with family members, but it's so funny how, like, detached I am from, like, it's not on my body, it's just a thing that I have to deal with, right? So it's like, we're not talking about my body, we're just talking about somebody's body when we're talking about, like, reconstruction, and it's like, like talking to my brother about it, I'm like, explaining to him what all's gonna happen, but it's not weird because it's just like I'm detached from it.
so here's my question, and it's funny because this is actually why I was like bringing it up. It's like, at what point does someone bring an attachment to a disattachment to conversations, ideals, and thoughts?
At what point do they attach to those things?
What time? What at what point are the things that we're attached to? So let me reword it.
Okay.
The attached to like thoughts
Like
we're
what
attached.
causes the detachment?
Concept types. At what point does
Detachment.
detachment come into play? And it's like, for example, like let me give it better perspective. Death. Like
Mhm.
every time I tell someone about Emery and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," I'm like, I have to give them this whole analogy about lasagna and about how it's like it's not a bad thing, it's a beautiful thing, and like I watch their face kind of go from like sorrow or like confusion to like horrid. And it's like they've made their own attachment to like this thought about death or
Mhm.
yeah, to which it's like everything we experience are just things.
Right.
Like things inadvertently affect us,
Mhm.
but we're constantly just changing and we're renovating around things, whether it's reconstruction of one's body or if it's thoughts of like social, political, or individual thoughts or movements.
Mhm.
Like, at what point do we have that unattachment?
Like at what point do we disengage from the information? I think it's when it becomes painful almost. Either like it's a coping mechanism for people to detach and disengage from like their thoughts or like the concepts that are happening in front of them, right? Because it's like either you can talk about it and engage with it and stay attached to it, Or you can't talk about it and you're completely disengaged and detached from it because you're like, nope, we're going to stuff that in the far back corner of the closet. We're not going to think about it. We're not going to talk about it. And then there's the people who are kind of in between where they can detach from it
And then
internally, but still talk about it. So they almost kind of like numb out. It's like that fight, flight, or freeze, right? Like you can
there's
talk
four. There's four. There's
and then
fight
fawn.
or fawn. It's like
Right.
nobody ever talks about fawning though. Stockholm syndrome. But I
But
what we're talking about, I actually seen ironically I seen during the election. I seen whenever like they had like it was the week before elections, it was election night and then after election. And I like on Facebook where you can actually get people's true thoughts. One way or another, people have like this inadvertent way of like just sharing their thoughts of what they're really thinking. And I think it's gorgeous and it's needed and it's beautiful because I'm just like, that's everyone's like right. And it's gorgeous. It's like I've seen a lot of disengagement. That way I'm not butchering the word. I've seen a lot of disengagement whenever it like came into the news with Trump. And then I seen a lot of people go into disengagement status to where like, it was like some people were like whoopee and some people were like oh no. It's like how like how does one go from that to going like they catastrophize the world around them to either enlightenment or catastrophe, if that makes sense.
right. Like how do they figure
How
out?
like you're not your just your life coach, but also like your social worker brain.
Mhm.
One way or another, regardless of and like using it as an example of the election, it's funny because nobody wants to talk about politics, and it's like that's what's wrong because nobody talks about it. Like what's wrong with the world is that we forgot that talking about it actually did this checks and balance things. You know this, I know this. It's like you have to have the checks and balances. It's like
Yeah.
I'm trying to like I'm trying to structure my question where I'm articulating it to make sense because it's like it's stupid important. Yeah, I haven't found the way to actually articulate it correctly. So
Are you trying to figure out how to help people move towards attaching to their thoughts rather than detaching and disengaging?
or being able to choose.
Like being able to
Let's say someone
engage when you're with your thoughts rather than suppress them.
let yeah yes. So like let's say someone that voted for um, Bart Simpson and someone voted for Forrest Gump.
Mhm.
Very real situation. Love how I changed the names, right?
Mhm.
Like, let's say whoever voted for Bart Simpson lost, and the way that they responded, because right now it's like I've had a lot of people have experienced that they were really rooting for Harris, and they were like, "That's set," and then Trump won, and they're in this like la land of going like they're stuck,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to like have a conversation with them of like maybe you need to talk to someone, not me, but maybe you like need to talk to someone. It's like, but they're still
Right.
stuck in la la land. That's like, how do you get someone out of that la la land? Because the answer to this question is the same thing when it comes to um, uh, someone's well-being of person, like so of like everything. Really,
Right.
like this is a land that nobody ever talks about. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. So a lot of times when and it's really interesting and coincidental that you're bringing this up because I'm actually listening to an audiobook called The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, good book, scary
It's
book. Don't read it all at once.
it's really good, and I actually really enjoy listening to the author, like, narrate it instead of reading it because it's a lot of information. You would what's that?
Does the author? I've read The Body Keeps Score.
Okay.
I have people that read The Body Keeps Score. I'm like, take it one chapter at a time. Read a
Yeah,
chapter,
because it's a lot of information.
come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I enjoy listening to it because then I can, like, kind of rewind and we'd be like, "Hold on, say that again." But, like, his cadence is really nice, and I'm like, "Okay." And I can kind of, like, retune in to because normally I prefer reading something to, absorb information. And I promise this has all the relevance to your question. But point being, in that book, he talks about trauma, right? And how people who have PTSD and trauma disengage from those thoughts because they can't bear to face them because it's painful, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not all the way into the treatment aspect of it. We're still kind of giving some like background, but we're starting to talk about, EMDR and CBT, and like that's the point where I'm at in the book. So it's being able to, or at least the theory with this, to move from detachment and disengagement to being able to engage with your thoughts in a fluid, like continuous way, rather than like stopping, starting, avoiding, all that stuff,
Yeah.
is to tune into where it manifests in your body as stress, right? Like being able to engage with like
Text.
mindfulness, and mindfulness based stress reduction strategies, like paying attention to your breath, like noticing your breath, noticing where the tension is in your body when you have certain thoughts, things like that. And then finding a safe person, whether it's a therapist or, hopefully a therapist in the case of trauma and PTSD, right? But like at least a safe person that makes you feel safe. And his big thing is we have to get to a point where we start to talk about it with a safe person. And by talking about it, we're able to talk about it more. The more we talk about it, the more we're able to. And the more we're able to face those thoughts in a safe environment.
Yeah.
Because when we are disengaging from thoughts, it's our brain setting them to the side because it feels unsafe
Right.
facing those things. When you face those thoughts, you go into your sympathetic response, your fight, flight, or whatever, parasympathetic, fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
The polyvagal theory.
Yeah.
You start going to the polyvagal theory, and it starts actually going to your sympathetic nervous system. And it's like,
Yep. Exactly. Like it's way more physiological, like way more physically involved than people realize when,
which
like
people don't realize because
right.
they don't.
I've had this book on my list for probably a decade now because I was like, I've heard so many things about it. And I'm like, yeah, I believe this theory. I want to read this book. And I just, kids and life. So I'm like, I want to, because I'm sitting here with this very physical ailment, right? But I was already trying to figure out like my body has had pain for a long time since before the cancer. That's what
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out initially. Then came the cancer diagnosis, and that's what we focused on. But as I'm sitting here listening to this guy, read this book, and he's sitting here going, symptoms of unchecked trauma, basically unaddressed, untherapized trauma that is still stored in the body that hasn't been addressed and released can manifest as X, Y, Z, including fibromyalgia, which is what I've been diagnosed with, like just general body pain that doesn't seem to have a cause or really a treatment other than like lifestyle changes and things like that. But there's no medicine to treat it. And so I was like, I need to listen to this book and see if there's something that I can do for myself. What can I get out of this to try to see if, test this theory, sample of one, but like I think I'd be a good candidate to see what kind of benefit I get from what he's talking about. So all that to say, I think that the detachment and disengagement and the way to help these people reconnect with their thoughts and be able to like re-engage with life at, just within a fluid capacity is to address the underlying trauma that is likely the thing that's driving that avoidance of thoughts and that
It's
disconnect from your thoughts.
it's funny when I meet with clients, I tell them, I'm like, I do not talk about, I don't address trauma. That is not what an anger management specialist does.
Right.
I'm like, my goal is to get rid of you as quickly as I found you.
Mm-hmm.
Around 3 sessions. At the 3rd session, I have a better idea of saying, okay, hey, these are some like surefire ways that you can actually get this aggression and this anger out of your way. Or this is a really good person that you would really would fit with. And I
Yep.
go on to Apology Today, and I actually will go through a whole like what
I've done
this.
the same thing with a handful of clients too, saying, "Hey, listen, because I have a therapeutic background, I recognize a lot of things that are going on here. but because of our scenario and I'm a coach and I'm not under supervisor and I'm not sitting here,
I'm
like
not
all the ethical reasons,
a person.
I'm like, it's, these are the things that I would address. And therefore, because I can't, I highly recommend, and I will help you find a therapist that can address this, 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 and this.
It's funny because a lot of people don't actually, a lot of life coaches or health coaches, a lot of them don't have I want to say the dignity. I know it sounds harsh, but it's true, to be able to let clients go
Yeah.
and they everyone else a bad name. Which
Right.
it's like my insurance, my liability insurance is
Hmm.
actually that's
Is
why
that
if you
what?
is health coach, health and wellness
Oh,
coaching.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you look on my website, if you look on Red Nose Wellness, it'll say Red Nose Wellness, right? Anger management, health and wellness, CPR. Anger management doesn't have a section of insurance. It doesn't have a section in the
Right.
DSM. Talking about that last week. Anger management is like this taboo conversation topic that nobody wants to deal with. Like,
Hmm.
and I've had the blessing. It's funny because I'm going to NSU, so Northeastern State University. I get
That's
a chance
awesome.
to talk to a lot of the psychologists there, which is
Hmm.
funny. My goal now is not to finish school, but to get and have great conversations with psychologists because, like, the book that I'm writing, I'm like, I need this information. I'm like, why is this not readily available? And it actually comes from gatekeeping. It comes from gatekeeping of people that control the narrative.
Hmm.
And sucks. It sucks because it's like, and that's why I was kind of bringing up like the political, and a lot of times people feel taboo. It's like, I don't care if you voted left or right. I really could give two shits. The problem is that we're not talking.
Right.
By not talking, you let other people control a narrative. Whenever someone would, when you were a therapist, it's like, FYI, you're once a therapist, always a therapist. You got your fucking masters. Sorry, but
Oh
that's what
no, all of that stuff is still in my head. I still
you just,
will yeah.
which I'm just letting you know they can't rip it out of your brain and be like, you're not a therapist. It's like,
Is not
I,
currently practicing.
I make the canon joke that I'm like, I'm a psychologist in training, okay? It's like, you
I'm a
can't,
therapist formerly known as.
it's like, the reason that I bring this up is because people were having like some very adverse feelings and effects towards like Trump winning. And it's like, don't do that. I know it's easy to do it. I know sometimes it's hard not to do it. But it's like, you get distracted. When you get distracted, people control the narrative even more. And this is
Mhm.
actually on both sides. It's kind of like before you jumped on, I was talking about Walmart, how Walmart curates their store to make you buy more.
All
Whenever you
retailers do.
go to Hilton, Aldi's does as well. When you go to Hilton, they have a scent machine under the chair that they gear you to smell a certain smell that gives you an adverse reaction for whatever their narrative is. It's
Mhm.
like, people were getting so upset about the election that I've had, and I mean it, like, just point blank, I've had Republicans and Democrats, like, just on the political affiliation and independents. It's like, and everyone else come in, sit in my chair, and a big majority of people that have come to me have always brought up the politics. And I'm like, respectively, it's like, you bought what they were selling, you
Mhm.
ate what they were cooking.
Mhm.
Everybody did. It's like, and we all reacted in an adverse feeling way. Stop eating a lotus if you've ever watched Percy Jackson. It's like,
Mhm.
stop eating the lotus. It's like, step back and realize it's like, I'm Jeremiah. I'm a what they call Jeremiah. You're Jamie. You're what they call a Jamie. It's like, going back to our conversation about like Dolly Parton. It's like, Grandy
Mhm.
would have funny. Everyone else can make whatever they will about it. But you and I, we've always had like this really unique like relationship to where it's like we've always had a good connection.
Yeah.
And regardless of whatever else is going on in the family or in the world, it's like, oh hey, it's like, what are you doing? It's like,
Yeah.
stop. Like, I have to be more mindful sometimes because it's like, obviously I've said things that have pissed off people. It's like,
Mhm.
obviously you've said things that have pissed off people.
Yeah, who doesn't?
But it's funny because it's like you took it so seriously. Like I'm like I literally have a list, and it's like who was I talking to? I think I was talking to my therapist, and I was talking about that terrific Tuesday when I was like literally just how it could be perceived calling out the family, but it was just me being truthfully honest of my
Right.
truth. And they were like, "Well, did you put into perspective how they were feeling?" And I was like, "No, like not really." And it's like, "Well, that was kind of insensitive." And then I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." And they're like, "So you recognize that?" I was like, "Yeah, I recognize that." And I was just like, "But you gotta understand, it's like I knew that going into it. I knew that when I was saying it. It was like wasn't trying to stir the water, but I was trying to bring the attention of how I perceived it." And I even
Mhm.
like if anyone goes back, it's like I even said it sucks because we don't have to be that way.
Well, the thing is, it's a fine line and a balancing act between being empathetic to other people's feelings and simultaneously understanding that you are not responsible for anybody else's feelings.
What people think about you is none of your concern.
Exactly.
Oh,
So,
one of the
in
viewers,
certain
Victoria, she was actually the first official on Terrific Tuesday, first official on the phone.
Mhm.
She said that just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's like
And the thing and that has more to do with it's most applicable when somebody's setting boundaries. And because if you're setting boundaries and it pisses somebody else off, it just means that they were benefiting from your lack of boundary.
true.
So if you're calling somebody out, not slander, but like calling somebody out with radical honesty and it pisses them off, it most likely doesn't, and this is why I say if it's a factual thing, it's pissing them off because they were getting away with it. And
Definitely.
you're shining a light on it for other people to see. And now they no longer get to benefit from it. So that's what pisses them off.
I I I think that that's where that fine act I think was curated the greatest by Grandy.
Hmm.
100% because she was like the myth buster.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's, I was like, your relationship, and it's funny because I bring her up, and I've actually brought her up more often than not. That it's like your relationship with her, and like Aunt Kathy's, your mom's experience, and my dad's, Uncle Jim's
Yeah.
experience. Casey, everyone had this different experience, and mine was quiet.
Hmm.
Mine like coming over every so often, having a sandwich and having this really nice conversation that nobody really even knew about unless like I brought her a candle and she told people that I brought a candle, and I'm like it's like
Yeah.
it's like it was quiet, but it was needed. And it was funny because it was like we had a conversation once, and I asked her because it was like I came over and Bear Paws watching golf, and it's like they're at the house, and I got it. She made me a sandwich, and it had Fritos and whatnot. And
You made the best sandwiches.
oh, I know. It was like towards the last conversation I asked her, I was just like, "Are you guys disappointed in me?" I just like I just truthfully like it's like is am I like this just this black sheep that everyone's like disappointed in? And she kind of laughed and she goes, "No, if you're disappointed or if you feel like people are disappointed, it's only because you're disappointed in yourself." I was like, it
Oh,
was
suggestion.
oh wait, oh man, I was just like I was like, because I told her I was just like, look, I'm like Casey, Jamie, Greg, Josh. It's like everyone's gone to college and everyone's like done this thing, and I obviously didn't at the time, and I was like, I didn't. She's like, okay, you're on your own path. She's like, stop comparing your path to other people's path. She's like, she grabbed my face and she goes, you need to put some blinders on and you need to go forward on your path. Okay,
Mhm.
sweetie?
Her line to me was always, "And what did you learn from that?"
Yeah.
And that's,
Oh,
I mean, that's how I approach life. Like, there's no such thing as true failure. It's a lesson learned, right?
I think we should make a book of things I'm writing a few books, so you need to write a book. I'm gonna delegate it to you of things I learned from Grandy. Things
I've
we
considered it. I've
things
considered it.
things we learn from. Okay, so this is a sign from
Yeah,
the universe.
lessons from Grandy.
Yeah, and go to every one of the family. Like it's funny because a quiet sleeper would be Greg. It's like if anyone benefited from her knowledge, it'd be Greg, because Greg would.
Yeah.
Oh, holy snarkies! Like me, we're on one level, and it's like your brother like took the advice from Bearpaw and Grandy and whatever the hell else you guys experienced in the absence of our family timeline, and he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go be a recruiter, and I'm gonna go do this. It's like,
Yeah.
okay then. Is he doing good?
Oh, he's doing amazing.
Yeah, is your mom and Pete doing good?
Yeah. I'm heading to Georgia to see them for Christmas on Thursday.
That's your brother or your mom?
Both. My mom lives down in Georgia now.
Oh, cool. Did not see. Yep, that's the disconnect of Jeremiah. But it's funny. It's like if they ever ask, just tell them I send them a link every Tuesday.
Will do. You can also send them a text too.
Right? It's like it's funny. I'm not. I'm vicariously interested in how everyone is doing. as everyone else is vicariously interested in how I'm doing. It's like I see the analytics and I get to see who clicks on the links.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part.
I
But
mean,
no,
I've told you that I have forgotten to tune in on a couple of them, or on quite a
oh,
few of them.
see,
Not for
it's
lack of wanting to. It's just one of those things where I see the link and I'm like, okay, I'm going to tune into that, but I know it's like an hour long. So I'm like, I want to tune into it, but I'm like, when am I going to have the time? I need to make the time, like that kind of thing.
so we are ending it because it is 9:22. But
Mhm.
I want you to know, Terrific Tuesday is never designed that way. Terrific Tuesday is designed to stop and start and tune in and tune out whenever freaking possible.
Oh, I
It is
know.
it is my mode of expression, so I don't bottle it up and have a Terrific Tuesday where I'm doing cartwheels and yelling at the screen.
Hmm.
I'm
I
like,
think it's fantastic. I love
hey,
it.
my goodness. No, I I
I'm
I
still
asked,
trying to actually put my first blog article out. I said I was going to blog this whole thing and I haven't written anything yet.
hey, well, you can now rewatch it. That's the best part is I have it up. You can just rewatch it. You can be like, oh, like my goodness. I'll have you on in a few episodes, and then we'll see how your blog's doing.
There you go. Happy to
Now,
be here.
when you do that, I want you to take note of something.
But
So even in the time that we talked, it's like we obviously talked about controversial topics.
mhm.
You hate me?
No,
Did you get mad?
no,
Did you get angry or sad or depressed?
nope. I've been smiling the whole time.
Easy way to have a conversation, even though it's like top. Like I mean, I literally like we talked about Trump and politics and like Dolly Parton boobs, and it's like, are you
Well, we've
offended?
always been able to talk to each other like that, though.
No, I know, but the reason that I wanted this conversation is because it's like it is that easy.
Hmm.
You can you and I, like, if we had enough time, could talk about any conversation and not have to like want to dag each other in the throats
Well,
for it.
yeah, we could disagree with each other and be able to say, "Well, I don't agree with that, and this is why," and you'd be like, "All right, cool." And I don't agree with that, and this is why. I'd be like, "All right, cool," and like we'd move on to the next part of the conversation.
And it's that easy.
Yep.
It's like,
It takes a lot of self-awareness and empathy. You have to build those muscles to be able to have a conversation like that.
as long as you don't let other people control the narrative.
Right.
Which it's like, I appreciate you taking the time. I really do. And tell James I absolutely appreciate him for having patience for both of us.
He heard you. He's
Well,
off screen.
love you to pieces. Thank you so
Love
much.
you to pieces.
I will talk to you when the wind blows.
All right. Hopefully not out your ass.
You what?
I said, hopefully not out your ass.
Right. Well, thank you for being you, and I will talk to you later.
Thank you for being you. Love you, buddy.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
My goodness. Thank you for tuning in for Terrific Tuesday. Now, if you're still tuning in, and we were obviously talking about narratives and whatnot, you're like, Jeremiah, what exactly are you talking about narratives? It's like, when it comes to making a decision, you get to choose to make a decision, or you get to choose not to make a decision. But if you choose not to make a decision, then other people, unfortunately, will always make a decision for you. It's like, still with me? My goodness. Okay. That being said, I hope that you still are. Because controlling one's narrative is one of the most dangerous aspects that we could experience right now in our time and day and age. You're like, well, who's controlling the narrative? Who possibly could be curating all of this? It's like, it's all around you. No, it's not. It's all around you. Don't believe me? Well, watch. If I can find my mouse. There's my mouse. And here we go.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
Plaguing our country.
the sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
Checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use those platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control the exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Sometimes narratives are not as easily identifiable as one would think. Sometimes it's common language that seems natural and seems authentic. Sometimes you need to think for yourself. Sometimes you need to question everything. It's okay. Ask for verification, verify. And for whatever you do, don't take anything for face value, because a wise man once told me, believe nothing what you hear and half of what you see, and make your decision then. It's like, I think that's important. But anyways, thank you for being you. I hope that you are having a terrific Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in, and well, thank you for being you. All right. Till next time, I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I hope that your Monday didn't suck. And now it's Terrific Tuesday. All I gotta say is what? Thank you for being you. Till next week. Bye.